Y'all, I just got on here to tell y'all that the first step to manifesting is seeking God first. Did you hear me? The first step to manifesting is seeking God first. God said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. Then everything else will be added unto you. A lot of times we try to manifest the way the world manifests, according to the world's knowledge on manifesting. But God says the wisdom of the world is as foolish to him, which means what? You cannot rely on the world wisdom. You can only rely on God's wisdom that's concerning you. God said, he that lack wisdom, let them ask it of him, and he will give it to us how? Liberally, without reproach. Which means what? If you're lacking the wisdom on how to move forward to manifest, you should not be seeking how the world manifests. You should not be seeking the secret. You should not be seeking how the celebrities manifest, because now you're trying to manifest through the lust of the flesh. And God says, in this flesh dwelleth no good thing. Some of y'all are wondering why it's taking so long for you to manifest. It's because you have excluded God. Did you hear me? The reason why you have not manifested as of yet is because you have excluded God. You have cut God out of the manifestation. There's good manifestation and there is bad manifestation. Don't you know witches, warlocks, wizards, wicked people, they manifest as well. They pray as well. They fast as well. But they're doing it for the kingdom of darkness. They're doing it to stop God's work. And if you're trying to manifest, listen carefully, if you're trying to manifest without the hand of God, guess what? You are working in the space of divination. You're now working in the space of darkness. You're now activating and working as a witch, as a warlock, as a wizard. If you're trying to manifest without the hand of God, you are in the witch stage. WITCH. You're operating as a witch now. I had someone that asked me the other day, and at first I thought I was seeing it wrong. They asked me if I would manifest for them. If I will manifest for them. If I will create it for them. And I said, whoa, I ain't no witch. I'm not a witch. That's the first thing that came over me. And I said, I know the person did not mean any harm. And I had to do this video so that hopefully this person sees it. No one can manifest for you. If you are asking another individual, a human, to manifest for you, then you're stepping in the state of spirit of divination. You're treating that person as if they are a witch, a wizard, or a warlock. And God said, not so. Not so. God says, seek him first. A lot of times we are weak, and we get weak, but God said in our weakness, his strength is made perfect. And sometimes you do fall in a state to where you're saying, my faith isn't strong enough. Listen, when your faith isn't strong enough, that's the perfect place to be. Did you hear me? When your faith is not strong enough, that's the perfect place to be. Which means what? When your faith isn't strong, that means you should be so humble to say, God, I give it to you. When you feel your faith isn't strong, that's when your faith is really the strongest. When there's no more of you left inside. So the thing is, if you've been trying to do it yourself, that's how you know if you've been trying to manifest without God. Because you'll get tired of waiting. You get impatient. You want to throw in the towel. That means your hand has really been in it more so than God's. So now you got to be in a space to where you're saying, okay, God, your will and your will be done. And that's why I told you today that the first step to manifesting is what? Is seeking God first. That's why God says what? Trust in him with all of your heart. And lean not to your own understanding, but in all of your ways you are to do what? Acknowledge him. And then God will direct your path. See, a lot of times we are not acknowledging God. We're still trying to seek things and do things in our own mindset and how we've been taught and how we've seen the celebrities do it and how we've seen this, that, and the others do it. And God said, this ain't got nothing to do with a chakra. This ain't got nothing to do with no sage burning. This ain't got nothing to do with no, ain't nothing to do with no meditation, no demonic meditation. And it ain't got nothing to do with no different type of breathing, like you getting ready for a Lamar's class. God said it ain't got nothing to do with that. That's pertaining to the world, of how the world manifests. And God said, if you really want to manifest what he wants for you, then you've got to include him. He's got to be included. And some of y'all saying, well, I have been including God and he's still an answer. So now you got to go back to the drawing board and say, God, what I was petitioning you about, what I was asking you for, was that according to your will? If you've been doing all the steps and you still have not seen manifestation, you say you have been including God. Now you need to ask God, what I've been asking, is it what you want for me? Is it your best for me? And trust me, God said when you call upon him, he will do what? He will answer. He will answer you. But you got to call upon him and have your heart open. See, sometimes we'll call upon God and our heart be closed. Our mind will be closed. We're asking God, but we're afraid of what that answer is going to be. We think that God going to tell us that we can't have it. So we'll ask God, but close our heart. And then we say, well, I ain't hear from God, so I guess that's a sign that I'm supposed to get this. I guess it's a sign that I'm supposed to do this. Some of y'all don't wait long enough to hear God speak to you. And some of y'all are praying with a closed heart, a rock solid heart. Your heart is hardened. You said, oh God, oh Jesus, I come before you as humbly as I know how, with your heart of stone. And God said, you don't want my answer. You don't want my best. You want what your flesh lusts. Did you hear me? That's what God is saying. You want what your flesh lusted for. Because if you really wanted God's best for your life, then you'll open the door. God said, I stand and knock at the door. And he that opens the door and let me in, I will dine with him, and they will dine with me. Which means what? You will eat the good of the land. You will eat on the table that God has spread before you. But some of y'all hear God knocking. You say, I don't want to let him in, because what I want to eat tonight is some fried chicken and some collard greens and some cornbread and some mac and cheese. And God about to bring a salad, and I don't want no salad. That's what y'all doing. I'm being honest with you. God got something better for you, something healthier for you, something that's not going to add sorrow. And you could be so onto a thing, so tied to an ungodly thing, to where it'll close your ears, it'll deafen your ears, it'll blind your eyes. It will. It'll blind your eyes. It'll cause you to be desensitized to God's presence in your life, to where you'll no longer hear God speaking, you'll no longer hear him talking, and you won't sense his presence. Not to mention, listen, when you try to do things all by yourself, don't you know that you're now blessed? You're now not blessed. Make sure I say that right. When you are doing things your own way, when you're trying to manifest on your own the way the world does it, you are now walking in ungodly counsel, which means what? You're not blessed. God said, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Now, if God is not included in you manifesting, that means you're now being counseled by your flesh, which God says, like I told you before, in our flesh dwelleth what? No good thing. So now you are the one that's ungodly. And because you don't understand that, you looking at everybody like they crazy. Like it's everybody else's fault, the reason why you haven't manifested yet. That you haven't received what your lust of the flesh wants. You're looking at everybody, you blaming everybody. I ain't got this and I ain't got that. And it's you. You're the ungodly counsel in your ear. You're the ungodly counsel in your eyes. You're the ungodly counsel in your heart. You're the ungodly counsel in your walk. God is trying to save you from yourself. You're trying to make what God don't want you to have happen. And God is saying, listen, a bus is coming. Do not cross the street. And you saying, but I know I can get across the street if I leave now, God. And God is saying, no, do not cross the street. A bus is coming. And you're saying, I can make it. I can make this trip work. If I do this, it will work out for me. And God is saying, it will not. It will end in disaster. It will end in destruction. What did God's word say? The ways of man seemeth right unto him, but at the end of the day, when all is said and done, it leads to what? Destruction, demise. That's what God said. So now think about it. When you try to manifest, and you're trying to manifest it because you want it, you have not included God. You said, this is what I want, so this is what I'm going to get. I tried that before, y'all. Guess what? It did not work because God had something better for me. Every single time I said, I'm going to manifest this, back in the day, I said, I'm going to manifest this. I'm going to manifest this. I had pictures of it. I had vision boards of it. Yes, I did. If I could just meditate on it. That's where I was. Let me look at it every single day. I'm going to say that's mine every single day. And God was saying, that ain't yours. That is not a part of my plan for your life. That's going to lead you down a road of destruction. So I'm going to block that. Because I got work for you to do. And you ain't going to do the work if you get that. And I will be in boo-hoo tears. God, where art thou? God is saying, I'm right here waiting on you to get on the plan. Get on the same page with me. In my word. Seeking me. So I can show you and bless you with what I got for you. And it wasn't until I began to seek God first and say, okay, God, your will be done. I'm seeking your face first. And once I began to do that, every pathway that God takes me in is prosperous. It's prosperous. And if there is some bumpy road, guess what? I'm bumping along and I'm laughing and I'm smiling and I'm happy. Why? Because I'm content in my Father. Because I know that everything works together for the good of them that love God and who are called to his purpose. So no matter what state I'm in, guess what? I'm counting it all joy. Why? Because I know that the pathway that I'm in, my feet are guided by God. So no matter what it looks like around me, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I ain't fearing. Why? Because what? God is with me. It's his rod and his staff. He right here with me in the path that he's taking me along. It may look like destruction around me, but God is the Lord of hosts, Jehovah Sabaoth. And he and his gang, his crew, his angels, who are excellent in strength, outnumbers the enemy 10 times, billion times over. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I'm safe with him. Which means what? I'm rocking out in his best. And that's what I'm telling you. The first step to manifesting is seeking God first. That's the only way you can get it. No one can manifest it for you. No one can manifest it for you. If you've been trying to manifest with crystals, wrong. If you've been trying to manifest with sage, wrong. If you've been trying to manifest by meditating and try to levitate and all this bringing the third eye, wrong. It's all demonic. And some people say, "No, you too serious." No. If you're doing yoga, trying to stand and look like a tree, it's demonic. Why don't you just be the tree that God told you to be instead of trying to pose like a tree? Can't you see that's demonic? The enemy is a copycat. Before he will want you to be the tree planted by the rivers of water so that your leaves will not wither, he'll rather for you to pose and look like a fool to try to look like a tree instead of being the tree that God has called you to be. I'm trying to tell y'all something. I don't care what nobody think about me now. Nobody. Because I'm in a space now that I've never been, even from growing up as a little kid. This is a whole nother revelation of God. You know when God says, you have some truth, but let me peel back the layers of this onion so you can really get into this thing. That's where I am right now. And God is still yet peeling back the onion. He's peeling back the layers, taking me deeper and deeper in him. Y'all don't have to listen. You can think I'm crazy. You can think what I'm saying is off the wall. You can unsubscribe. You can talk about me as much as you please. But guess what? It ain't me you talking about. It's God. So be very, very careful. Okay? Be careful. Be careful. Because God said, touch not his anointed and do his prophets no harm. I'm both. I'm both. Okay? Did you hear me? I'm both. So God knows best for you. God knows best for you. So seek him first when you're saying you're going to manifest something. Because whenever you walk in it alone, now it's you and your flesh manifesting. And like I said, God said, in your flesh dwelleth no good thing. And if you proceed by trying to manifest the way the world manifests, which is through the world of flesh, then you are going to be walking in a state of ungodly counseling, and you will not be blessed. That's what God said. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. If you're walking in the counsel of the ungodly, that means you're not blessed. So you're saying, why am I still in a state of poverty? Is there some ungodly counseling going on? And is it you? Are you the ungodly counsel? Is it your flesh counseling you? Walk in the Spirit. Seek God first. Have your mind stayed on him. Have your mind transformed and renewed in him. And be sincere and have your heart open and softened, so that when you do call upon the name of Jesus, which is your strong tower, when you do seek God, he will what? Hear you. He will answer you. Why? Because now you've come postured as a child, which means what? You have become lowly and humble unto him. That's why God said, what? If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways. He says, what? I will hear from heaven, forgive them of their sin, and heal their land. When your land is healed, that means God's seed is placed in, and now you will receive a harvest. You will then see fruit. Then you will see manifestation of God working in your life. Then you will get the best that God had already ordained for you, and not the counterfeit. God trying to save you from the counterfeit. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to save you from the replica. You want the real thing. You don't want something that's going to bring you sorrow. You want the best, the very best. And sometimes those feigned and fake things will come quickly. The enemy will allow you to manifest if you do it his way. But I'm telling you, it's going to bring sorrow, because it's going to take you out of the route that God have you to go. It's going to reroute you to the way of destruction. It's going to reroute you to a place where you were never supposed to be, to uncharted land where you will not have footing. Any place where, listen, I'm almost at 20 minutes. Any place where God does not guide your feet to be, don't you know you will be unstable? You will never figure that land out. You will never be able to conquer in that land, because God never called you there. That's why some of y'all are in a place where you're saying, why is this happening? You're in the wrong land. You're in the wrong place. God said he will give, where our feet go, where our feet tread, he will give us the land. But your feet got to be first guided by him. God said he'll be a light unto our feet, a lamp unto our feet, and a light unto our path, right? Now, if God is not a lamp to your feet and not a light unto your path, and you going wandering off in the dark, then God never led you to that territory, right? Which means what? You're going to get your butt kicked. You're going to get beat upside the head. You're going to end up getting bad reports. And you're going to say, why do I have this? God said, because you're not in the land of inheritance of what I've called you to and destined you to be. Some of y'all are in the wrong place. You need to get up and say, God, guide my feet to where I'm supposed to be. Let me stop talking. But listen, bring it up back, all the way back to the beginning. The first step, you only have to start with that step. Everything else is easy peasy, because then God takes the rest. One step, seek ye first the kingdom of God and all of his righteousness. Then everything else will be added unto you. It will. Nobody has to manifest for you. God did not call man to manifest for you. God said he's the one that does the answering when you ask. He answers. He delivers. He sets the captives free. Not man. Only him. Okay? Only him. I stand in agreement with you all who are doing the upright thing. And I touch and agree with you. God said, well, 2 or 3 are touching and agree on anything, he's within the midst. So if you know you're doing what is righteous, you know if your bases are all covered with God, then I touch an agreement with you, because I'm not going to touch an agreement with you and you ain't doing your part. You ain't going to have me doing all the heavy lifting and have me looking a fool. You're not going to do that to me. And nobody ain't going to do it to you. Don't let nobody do it to you. You still have to play the part to do what is right. You cannot have that space in your heart and your mind to give up, because your God said he is unfailing, which means wait, you don't throw in the towel. If God said it, he's going to do it. If he spoke it, it's going to be. Now, if what you tried to manifest ain't happening, like I said, ask yourself, did I include God with this manifesting, or did I exclude God? Go back to the drawing board. Start over again. And then see what happened once you seek God first, okay? That's the first step to manifesting. Hope y'all got this thing. Hope y'all ain't mad at me about this thing. But if you are, God know how to heal their heart. And guess what? I'm still praying for you. I still love you. You still my sister. You still my brother. Listen, you cannot stop the love of me given to you through God, okay? Because God told me to love you. God said, if I don't love you, if I do not love you, God said that I'm a murderer. Anybody that does not love you, that means they are out to kill you. Did you hear me? That means they're out to stop anything that will grow in your life. That's in John. I think that's is that in 1 John? I believe that's in 1 John, if I'm not mistaken. But look it up. God said, if you don't love your neighbor, then you are a murderer. You are to kill. Because you ain't going to support nothing that they're going to do, which means that you want to chop down everything that they're trying to do concerning what God has for their life. You're not going to support it, which means, well, if you ain't supporting it, that means you're against it. That means God said you're trying to murder it. You're trying to kill the seed. And God said, well, anyone that is in him, their seed remaineth. So that you're coming against, it ain't going to do no harm, but you still will be looked upon as a murderer. Did that make any sense? Why did I go there? Because some of y'all in the space to where you don't want people to manifest. It's people around you. Listen, watch your circle. I hope y'all still watch this. Watch your circle of who's around you. There are some people around you that is against you moving forward. And they're speaking in your ear ungodly counsel, trying to get you to give up, trying to get you to go to something else. Now, there are those of y'all who have included God and you have not seen it. Wait, though the vision tarry, it shall still come to pass. God said, continue to wait on him. He has not forgotten, but do not give your ear to the ungodly. Do not give your ear to the viper and the hypocrite. Do not give your ear to that serpent. Because listen, they ain't supporting you. Watch your circle closely. Watch it closely. Even family members, people in your own household are not rooting for you. I know that sounds crazy, but you will have people in your family that don't want to see you succeed because somehow it makes them feel inferior. That's fear. That's the enemy working in them. You gotta be able to stand firm. Don't listen to what the enemy is trying to speak to you through whomever. Your dog may be trying to bark at you crazy. You better look at that dog and say, I bind you in the name of Jesus. You better change your bark tone in this house. Listen, I'm trying to told you something. I'm trying to told you something yesterday, okay? Listen, seek God. Give your ear to him only. God said you will hear a word behind your ear saying, well, this is the way. Walk therein. But you cannot surround yourself by ungodly counsel. You cannot surround yourself by ungodly counsel. And God said his sheep know his voice, and a stranger they will not follow. You know the voice of God. Any voice that's trying to get you to go in a place to give up, to be afraid, to be inferior, any voice that's speaking in your ear to get you to look at a situation that is a blessing to you, to look at it as a bad thing, listen, you better run from that voice. Any voice, any individual that has been pushing you away from what God has blessed you with, you better look again. If you look again, you'll see that's a serpent. You'll see the enemy has tricked a lot of people. I'm still talking. The enemy has tricked a lot of people in believing that grass is greener. That I'm best for you. I'm the only thing you got. So that over there Don't pay no mind to it. That's what the enemy will say. That's what the enemy will trick you with. The enemy always knows when you have a blessing because he'll come and talk against that blessing. You better watch people around you who's always talking ill of your husband. Did you hear me? Who am I talking to today? You better watch people who are always talking ill to you about your husband. You better watch people who are always talking ill to you about your wife. Anyone that's trying to pull you away from your husband or pull you away from your wife, pull you away from your children, pull you away from your job. Are you listening to me? Pull you away from God. You better look again. You'll see that it's no longer human form. You'll be able to see that devil, that serpent, as plain as day. Because only the devil want to talk you out of your blessing. You hear me? He wants you to be walking when you got a Lamborghini. Did you hear me? He wants you to be walking when you have a Lamborghini. That's what he wants for you. He wants you to be starving when you have a refrigerator full of food. That's what the enemy wants. You have a refrigerator full of food, but he wants to put you in a space where you're starving, and yet you have food, but he'll have you looking at that food like it ain't good for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Watch your surrounding. Tune your ear to the voice of God so you can hear. Tune your eyes to the sight of God. God said we walk by faith and not by sight. If you're walking by sight, that means you're walking in the flesh, which means you're going to see what the enemy's showing you, which is a whole lie. A whole lie. A whole lie. You hear me? Get in tune with your Father by seeking him first and his kingdom and all of his righteousness. And watch what happens in your life. Watch a total turnaround. Watch every weapon that's been sent against you be reversed and sent back to the kingdom of darkness with God's judgment attached. I'm trying to tell you something. You'll see doors open for you that had been closed years and years. Yeah, I'm almost at 30 minutes now. I hope y'all stuck with me because a lot of y'all was frustrated because you thought what you wanted to manifest wasn't going to happen. And those of you who have been in a state to manifest with God, having God included, God said, though it tarry, continue to wait. It's going to be. But those of you who have been trying to manifest by excluding God, kicking God out the process, and using the way of the world to manifest, trust me, you don't want that. You do not want that manifestation. It will lead you down the road of destruction. You don't want it. Okay? If you let that go and say, God, give me what you want me to have, you'll see you will not be in a state of giving up anymore. You will not be in a state of weak anymore. You'll be in a state of knowing that, hey, listen, now I'm manifesting with God included, having his desire. I'm petitioning him according to his will. Now, even if it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years, I'm still content because I know that God is not going to fail me. I'm at peace. I don't lack nothing. God said he ain't going to withhold nothing good from those who are upright. Okay? Y'all hear me? So seek ye first the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and watch how everything else will be added. Why? Because God will be in the mix. God will be included, and then you'll see manifestation. All right, at 30 minutes. I hope y'all stuck with it. It was a long one, but I had to get on here to talk to the individual who, not just that individual, but other people who is trying to manifest, and they are frustrated because it's not happening. Hopefully, what I spoke to you today answered a lot of your questions, filled in a lot of blanks, and now have you on the right road to manifest the way God intended it to be, through his word, through his spirit, not by man's might, nor by man's power, not by the world of wisdom, but only by God, what he has ordained and planned for your life. And God said what? His plans for you, God said his plans for you are to prosper you and to give you an expected end. That's how God's manifestation works. It always prospers you and give you an expected end. It does not add sorrow, and it does not lead you down a road of destruction, okay? You get it, got it good? I hope so. If you did not get this thing, rewind. It's a long one. Rewind it. Watch again. Tell a family member, a friend, a neighbor. Tell your enemy. Tell somebody who is straight up confused. Share it with them, okay? But listen, if you didn't get this thing, rewind and watch again. But in the meantime, in between time, if you take just a little bit of what I'm telling you and apply it to your life to the best of your ability, you won't ever have to mess a smile. Why? Because your smiles will always be genuine. Be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed, be blessed, stay blessed. Y'all know what's coming next.